English conversation. Two students how to improve English vocabulary. Show more detail. Here's a detailed conversation between two students discussing various methods to improve their English vocabulary. Conversation between two students discussing how to improve their English vocabulary. This conversation shows practical ways to build vocabulary while practicing speaking. Let me know if you'd like to explore more such dialogues.
Hey, I've been trying to improve my English vocabulary, but it feels so hard. Do you have any tips?
Yeah, it can feel overwhelming at first. But I think the best way is to learn words in context.
What do you mean by in context?
It means learning words by seeing how they're used in sentences. For example, when I read a book or watch a movie, I write down new words and the sentences they appear in.
That sounds smart. Do you memorize those words afterward?
Kind of. I try to use them in my own sentences or conversations. If I use a word a few times, I remember it better.
Oh, I should try that. I've been just memorizing lists, but I forget them quickly.
Yeah, lists can be boring. You could also try flashcards with pictures or examples. Apps like Quizlet or Anki are great for that.
I've heard of those. Do you think it helps to learn synonyms and antonyms too?
Absolutely. If you learn a word, also learn its synonyms and opposites. It gives you more ways to express yourself.
Good point. How about idioms or phrases? Should I focus on those?
Yes. Native speakers use a lot of idioms. You can learn them from movies, TV shows, or even online articles.
Nice. Do you have a favorite idiom?
I like a piece of cake. It means something is very easy. What about you?
I like break the ice. It's fun to use when meeting new people.
That's a good one. Let's share new words or phrases we learn every day. It'll help us both.
Great idea. Thanks for the tips. I feel more motivated now.
You're welcome. Let's start today.
Hey, I've been struggling to improve my English vocabulary. Do you have any tips that might help?
Yeah, I've been working on my vocabulary too. There are lots of ways to improve it, depending on what works best for you.
That's great. Can you share some of the methods you use?
Sure. First, I try to read as much as possible, books, articles, even news online. Reading helps me discover new words in context, which makes them easier to remember.
That makes sense. But what do you do when you come across a word you don't know?
I write it down in a notebook or use a vocabulary app. I also look up its meaning, synonyms, and an example sentence. That way, I understand how to use it.
Do you study those words later?
Yes, I review them regularly. I also try to use the new words in conversations or while writing. It's the best way to make them stick.
I like the idea of using them in conversations, but sometimes I feel shy because I'm not sure if I'm using the words correctly.
Don't worry about being perfect. People will understand, and if they correct you, it's a great way to learn. Plus, practice builds confidence.
You're right. Do you have other methods besides reading?
Yes. Watching movies and TV shows helps a lot. I listen to how native speakers use certain words and phrases. Subtitles are helpful too. Sometimes I pause and write down interesting expressions.
I love watching movies. I'll try that. Do you think listening to podcasts or audiobooks is helpful too?
Definitely. Podcasts are great for learning conversational English, while audiobooks expose you to more formal or descriptive language. Plus, you improve your listening skills at the same time.
That's a good idea. What about learning with flashcards?
Flashcards are awesome for memorization. I use apps like Quizlet or Anki. They let you review words regularly, and you can even add pictures to make them more memorable.
I'll give that a try. Do you think learning word families like run, runner, and running is useful?
Yes, very useful. It helps you understand how words change based on grammar. Learning related words together saves time and improves understanding.
What about idioms and phrases? Are they important for vocabulary?
Absolutely. Native speakers use idioms all the time, so knowing them makes you sound more natural. Try learning a few every week. For example, hit the books means to study hard.
Oh, I like that one. Do you have a favorite idiom?
I like, the ball is in your court. It means it's your turn to take action.
That's interesting. How do you organize all the words and phrases you learn?
I keep a vocabulary journal. I divide it into sections like new words, phrases, and idioms. I also add example sentences and review it weekly.
That sounds organized. One last question. How do you stay motivated to keep learning?
I set small goals, like learning 5 words a day. I also track my progress, which makes me feel accomplished. And practicing with friends, like we're doing now, keeps it fun.
I love that idea. Let's start sharing new words and phrases every day.
Great plan. Together, we'll improve much faster.